So for 10 years at least in the Windows and definitely forever in the Linux environment, there's been a push for more automation, more automation, more automation. DevOps, of course, being a huge part of that as well. If you want to ask why is it still an ongoing thing, why hasn't it taken off more, why isn't there more automation? Computers obviously started in punch cards and just pure code, no GUIs. So why was the GUI developed? Well, you could say ease of use for consumers, sure, but when you get down to it, it's kind of like, a chatbot. We all know the prompts are difficult, you have to figure all these things out. Computers are no different. We as humans can look at a screen of information, especially if it's graphical and it's got colors, real fast of, oh, there's the problem. If you're sitting there trying to think, okay, what command is gonna show me this problem? It's much slower. And so realizing that the power of automation is if you need to do something similar across a vast ecosystem, like a systemic change, all day long. If you need to track, if something has changed and get an alert, all day long. But if you're looking for a needle in a haystack, hunting and pecking through commands is much more difficult than just looking at a screen. I remember one client I walked in, they'd been searching for something for 12 days and they were doing the hunt and peck thing. And I kid you not, they had the huge wall of observability things. And I look up and I see the Exchange servers out of space, just the red bar, and I'm like, there's your problem. But they had been looking at the symptoms, hunting and pecking through commands, and no one bothered to just go look at the GUI. When you're looking at automation, kind of like AI, ask the question, what are we trying to accomplish out of this? The general rule of thumb is, if it takes longer to code than doing it once, then we don't, we really have to think about, is there gonna be a use case down the line where it's gonna be worth this investment in time? There's, to me, two levels of automation. There's what I call single variable scripting, which is, where, hey, we need all of these things in an Excel spreadsheet to get this one thing changed. No problem. It's when you get into the multivariable that things become much more difficult. So let's say, okay, we're gonna do this to every server in the world, but we need it to go based on their time zone. Well, now you've made things substantially more difficult because then you're into an if-then paradigm. What's more difficult, programming out every single time zone or just setting up batch scripts for each one that kick off at that time? The batch script thing is much faster because you've already created the other scripts and you're just running it that way, rather than trying to come up with the logic to teach this thing, when you're gonna do that based on time zones. Resist the urge to just try and automate everything. Think about the return on investment. And, it's okay to still use a GUI for troubleshooting, and it's okay to use single variable scripting if that's all you need.